Betaflight 4.3 is almost here, and everybody's talking about how good it flies. But you know what? That's not even the part I'm most excited about. I know, what kind of loser doesn't care how a flight controller flies? Because I spend a lot of time working on quadcopters and helping other people work on their quadcopters, and there have been some things in Betaflight that have bugged me for a long freaking time, and they have finally been fixed in Betaflight 4.3. I'm Joshua Bardwell, and you're going to learn something today. The first thing I'm excited about in Betaflight 4.3 is relatively small, but it's one of those quality of life things that's going to make a big difference. And it's right here in the firmware flasher tab. And as you probably know, when you flash firmware, the first thing you need to do is choose the correct target. And if you flash the wrong target to your flight controller, well, it won't work, but it won't work. And you'll need to find the right target and flash the correct target. Now, you can manually find the correct target by going into the CLI, but many people don't do that. Instead, Betaflight 4.3 has added this button, Auto Detect, and it will connect to your flight controller and automatically fill in the correct target for that flight controller. And if you just make that a habit before you flash, it'll save you from accidentally flashing the wrong firmware quite a lot of the time. The next feature of Betaflight that I'm excited about is here in the Presets tab. And yes, the Presets tab is a feature I'm excited about, but hang on. Before you start messing with presets, you're going to want to save the backup of your flight controller. Now, the way that's usually done is to go to the CLI and you type diff all or something like that, and then you save to file and you manually save it to a file. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the Presets tab makes it so much easier. Because here I can just hit Save Backup, and it automatically loads the command line dump and saves it to a text file. And we can see right here, we've basically got a diff all of the flight controller. Fantastic. And if I want to restore that configuration, I do not have to go into the CLI and manually paste it in. I can simply hit Load Backup and choose the file and load it, and it will correctly load it. And this is a big deal because you may be over here in the Setup tab. There's the backup and restore function. This is useless. Betaflight devs, take these buttons away. The only thing they do is mislead people into thinking they actually work. People use backup and I don't even know what it backs up, but it's just a small part of your configuration and it's not sufficient. And you should never use these and they should just get rid of them. The next part of Betaflight 4.3 that I'm super excited about is the presets. And yes, we have to acknowledge that KISS, iNav, and Flight 1 all had community presets before Betaflight did. Point made. The reason this is exciting is, yes, it's cool that you can just download BMS Thomas's rates or Evan Turner's rates or Bardwell's rates. But more than that, this is a way for the Betaflight devs to communicate additional information to you about how you might set your quadcopter up. So for example, here is the Karate Race 6S 5-inch tune, and this is a custom aggressive racing tune. And what makes this cool is that it's marked as an official tune or an official preset. That means the Betaflight devs have tested this and examined it, and they feel like it is safe to put out in the world. Safe? Well, I mean, you can see here that you have to use RPM filtering with this tune or you might smoke your motor. So safe is relative, always read the instructions, but it's not just some random PIDs that were thrown out there by some jackass that's going to immediately mess your quad up. And it's so much more than just tunes. For example, if we go here, we can look at VTX. Oh my God, VTX tables. Yeah, the VTX tables are out there on the internet somewhere for any video transmitter, but they can be difficult to find. And I am thrilled to think about a world where all the VTX tables that you might want, boom, they're right here. You just pick it and apply it to your quad and you're good to go. Mwah, so nice. But if we look here at the RC Link presets, we see that presets are even more than that. These presets are used to custom tune Betaflight's RC command smoothing and feed forward settings to perfectly match your control link. So for example, if you're using TBS Crossfire at 150 Hertz, you need different filtering settings for your RC input than if you're using Express LRS at 150 Hertz or 250 Hertz. And what this is going to do is give you just the absolute lowest latency and perfect filtering for your control link, as opposed to the previous versions of Betaflight where they just use the defaults, and the defaults work for everybody, but they're not optimized for people using higher performance control links. Just to be clear, you don't have to do any of this. But previously, you would have had to get some CLI snippets from a wiki or something and manually paste them in. And here, instead, you can go, you know what? I'm running Express LRS 250 Hertz. Boom. Pick it, apply it, boom, you're done, and you're getting the best performance. And this is only going to expand as a way for the Betaflight devs to help customize stuff that maybe wouldn't be appropriate for the defaults. Mwah, presets are amazing. On top of that, can I say, if we hit preset sources, you can actually make your own repo, your own GitHub repo with your own presets in it, which I have done. Community. And this is mostly just for me, but anybody could make a preset repo and share it with the world and share their presets. Like Mark Spatz, UAV Tech, is making one with all his tuning presets in it and so forth. This is amazing. Next, we're going to go to the Motors tab, and we're going to find the single happiest thing I've ever seen in Betaflight, which is the motor direction and reorder motors wizards. Oh my God. Motor direction. Watch this. Click on the motor to change the spin direction. Verify all motors are spinning the correct direction. We just reverse the motor. Once the motors are all spinning the right direction, we hit stop motors. That's it. We don't need to go to BL Heli anymore or BL Heli Suite. We can just do it all from within Betaflight, and is a wizard that makes it so simple. Oh, but wait, there's more. Let's say your motors are spinning the wrong direction, or they're reordered. You got your flight controller. Oh, I'm so excited I can't talk. Let's say your flight controller isn't facing the right way and you need to reorder your motors. Normally you would have to go to the command line and do resource remapping. And I have a tutorial about how to do it, obviously, but they put it in a wizard now. You don't need that anymore. We just hit reorder motors, and we click on whichever motor is spinning. Well, this one's set up right, so it's not going to be an issue. And it reorders the motors. And then we can check them individually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Done. So good. So good. The final thing I'm super excited for in Betaflight 4.3, I'm not going to be able to show you today because it's the PID tuning system, and that really deserves a video all of its own. But they have refined the PID tuning sliders, first of all. If you have expert mode turned off, you're only going to get 3 sliders, and you can choose to apply those to pitch and roll, or pitch, roll, and yaw together, depending on, sometimes the yaw axis needs to be tuned a little bit separately. But it's very simple, just D, P and I gains for tracking, and feed forward for stick response. That's it. And the devs have worked really hard to make sure that you can move these sliders within a wide range to produce differences in how the quad flies without it getting out of control or getting dangerous. If you enable expert mode, though, you get a whole lot more sliders, including sliders that let you separately tune the pitch and roll axis for quads that aren't symmetrical. And it just, the slider-based tuning is so much more sophisticated. It's both more powerful and easier to use. And this is something that a lot of people are not going to mess with because they're not tuning, but it's really great for people who tune. And the word is that you just don't need to be tuning with manually inputting numbers anymore. That everything you need for tuning can be done with these sliders. At least that is the promise of the Betaflight devs. We'll see how it lives up to it. Incidentally, if you're looking to migrate from Betaflight 4.2 to 4.3 safely, this tool is the BF 4.3 Safe Migration tool. Basically, what you do is you paste your CLI dump into it. Oh, look, I have one here. You paste your CLI dump in here. You choose which parts of the CLI dump are safe to carry forward and which parts are unsafe. And then you just hit Get Betaflight 4.3 Safe Diff. and it gives you a diff file you can paste safely into a Betaflight 4.3 quad. The default settings are going to be right for most people, but you can, if you choose, take some parts in or out. And that's linked down in the video description as well. That's going to do it. We're going to finish up the video here. I hope you are as excited about Betaflight 4.3 as I am, both because it's supposed to fly great, sure, but also because the devs have done so much here to improve our quality of life when using it. It's a real, frankly, I'm incredibly thankful. There have been times where it's felt like the Betaflight devs have been like, we're not that interested in making life easier for the users. We just want to make our quads fly as good as possible. And for people like me who spend literally hours a day helping people, this is a real boon. It's a real boon. So thank you, Betaflight devs. Thank you guys for watching. Happy flying.
Patrons are the people who make all this possible. Not to disrespect you, because you're watching all the way to the end, which really helps the analytics. So I guess without you watching, none of this would be possible. But if you would subscribe or join my Patreon, $2 a month or more, it's up to you. Or at the very least, you know, leave a comment or click the affiliate links and do the show. Isn't it a beautiful day? Oh, man, the lighting looks good out here. What's up, y'all? Out for a walk.